So I just want to say thank you for conducting this interview with Northwest.
Absolutely, Brandon. I'm so glad you asked me. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me into your office.
Oh, yeah.
I just have a bunch of questions for you.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
What's an average school day like for you as president of the school?
So there's kind of a joke on the administrative team that there is no such thing as an average day at Northwest Catholic, especially in leadership. So you can make the best plans, but honestly, the days sort of happen. And, in a school, there's a lot going on. So everything from the unexpected to the expected. But I mean, if you were to just sort of like boil it down, my average days, I try and get in here fairly early, a little bit before school starts to kind of get my head cleared, check email, set the agenda for the day. I always try and be around for morning prayer and see students in the morning. My day is always full of meetings. I don't necessarily love that piece, but it's important, right? Seeing all the people that I need to see. Often I'm also kind of directed outside of the building, which people don't necessarily see, but talking to our alums and people in the region who need to hear from me. So it's the days are full, and then the evenings are full too, right? Because there's always something going on at Northwest Catholic. Yeah. So the fun part is there's never really a predictable day.
So what's rewarding about being president of the school?
Oh, geez, there's so much that's rewarding about leading Northwest Catholic, but I think fundamentally it's seeing our students grow and succeed, grow in the ways that God calls them to be the people that they're called to be. So, whether it's seeing them flourish in the classroom or just seeing them flourish socially or in any way, but it's very gratifying to see any student have a breakthrough, a growth moment, an experience that's powerful for them. So that's clearly the most rewarding piece.
What does success in Northwest Catholic look like for you?
It's a big question, and especially from my perspective, there's a lot of measures of success, especially in the president's job, because you're looking at all these pieces of the school and institutional life. But I guess if I was really thinking about mission success, it would be that what we're doing at Northwest adheres to our mission, drives to our mission of educating the whole person, mind, body, spirit, and imagination, and making sure that we're developing servant leaders. So success would be that our experience mirrors that, right? That the things that we're doing, whether it's in the classroom, on the field, in fine arts, in retreats, in co-curriculars, that it's all driven at that mission of growing the whole person, and that when someone graduates from Northwest Catholic, they have that experience, they become that person who's mission-driven. I think that's the most important thing.
So one thing I find fascinating about you is you've always been sort of an advocate for Catholic education. Why do you think Catholic education is important than public school education?
So it's a very interesting question, and first of all, I would say because of my Catholic education, I believe in Catholic education. Now, I didn't go to grade school in a Catholic school or even high school. It was at the college level at Xavier University in Cincinnati where I first experienced Catholic education, and it changed my life. Clearly, my whole trajectory, the path of my life was influenced by my professors, my teachers in theology and philosophy, and in service and in retreat. It just changed my whole worldview. So that's my own experience of it. My own children have been products of Catholic education. My wife is a Catholic school educator, so we're all in.
Where does she work?
So she works at St. Thomas the Apostle here in West Hartford. A lot of
elementary school.
Yeah, a lot of our kids from Northwest have gone to St. Thomas and then St. Tim's. So I think, but the question, which is a really good one about what's the difference between Catholic education and public education, I often say they're apples and oranges. So my mother was a public school educator her entire career in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and a very loyal public school educator, and she did a beautiful job in public education. But I think they're just very different approaches. So in a Catholic setting, we can educate the whole person, right? Mind, body, spirit, and imagination. And there are elements in a public school that just sort of are not pieces of what can be done, relative to spiritual life, to the inner life of the person, related to their religious beliefs or their spiritual development. And I guess we say in Catholic education that education which does not have that as part of it is somehow missing something or incomplete. Isn't to say that public education is important. It is important. But I think when we can have that element of forming the whole person, we do something extra, or we go the extra mile in Catholic education. And to me, that's fundamental.
One of my biggest question I've always wanted to ask is what makes Northwest stand out of all the public schools in this country and in the state? What makes Northwest stand out?
So as relative to public or Catholic schools, Northwest Catholic, I think, is distinctive because of its diverse community. Mm-hmm. So all of those mission pieces that make us Catholic are very important, but every alum that I talk to from the decades, every graduating senior in these interviews we've been doing talk about the importance of diversity in our community, and that makes the experience at Northwest Catholic look like the world, right? Because we are as diverse as the world is diverse. And it's not just ethnic diversity, it's socioeconomic diversity, it's diversity of interests, and in all of that we have unity, right? Our theme this year is many gifts, one spirit. Mm-hmm. So we're very diverse, yet that one sort of spirit ties us together. And I think over the decades, that diversity of community is the thing that distinguishes Northwest Catholic.
Mm-hmm. All the students, of course, by this time are looking into high schools who are in middle school and 8th grade. Why should they come to Northwest?
So I think Northwest Catholic is a great choice for students in the Connecticut region for the mission purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Mind, body, spirit, imagination, the whole package. Our academics are excellent, right? We're sending kids to the best universities in the country. So, I mean, we're sending students to, Boston College, Villanova, Harvard, Yale, all of the Ivies, but also great public schools. So kids going to UConn and Big Ten schools and having great, academic experiences. But also the fact that, we have the co-curricular and the spiritual aspect that forms the whole person. And I think our size helps too. We're not huge and we're not too small. So there's a lot that we offer and you don't get lost. So I think you can be known at Northwest Catholic, you can be known as an individual student, as a person, and you can grow in that whole way. And so I think it's worth the investment, and I think it's transformational. So I hope everyone will apply to Northwest Catholic this year as a potential 9th grader or transfer student.
So speaking of applying to Northwest Catholic, of course, there are probably going to be some non-Catholic students. Why should those non-Catholic students come to this school?
It's a great question, because people actually ask us, can you come to Northwest Catholic if you're not Catholic? And the answer is, of course, yes, right? 30% of our students are not Catholic. And I think what really makes our community special is that diverse welcome. So we educate from a Catholic perspective because we are a Catholic school, but not because you are per se, right? Many of our students are Catholic, but our students who are non-Catholic bring a richness and a diversity to our school. And just doing our senior interviews with our class of 2019 this past month, so many of them have said that even though they aren't Catholic, their experience of faith life here and service and spirituality has made their faith life better, right? So I think actually that's one of the great gifts we have as our non-Catholic students.
Right. Of course, I'm going to be graduating next year. I know it's
awesome.
so hard to
Can't believe it.
What do you want the incoming class of 2023 and 2024 and 2025 to know as they embark on their journey here?
It's a good question. I'm going to quote our seniors who were asked that question this year in their interviews, and we said, sort of, what would you tell a freshman? And I agree with them. Their advice is, first of all, challenge yourself and be open. We're a very diverse community. It's easy to come in and sort of not stretch yourself because you're not with students from your grade school necessarily, right? So really challenge yourself to find your stretch goal, whether that's in athletics, whether it's in academics or co-curriculars. Get involved, right? And then also understand that your unique path will be very different and unique unto you. So you might start with a certain interest or a certain passion as you come as a freshman, and by the time you're a senior or junior, and you've probably discovered this, that shifted somewhat, right? So be open to the idea of growth and challenge and get involved in the community. Find a way to get into a club, a sport, or an activity that connects you very early on in your experience.
So what's on the horizon for Northwest in its years to come?
Good question. We're working on a fairly short-term strategic plan right now that's a 3 to 5 year plan.
A track?
A track, maybe. That funny you should ask. That was a big survey question in our strategic planning survey. But we have a strategic plan for the 60th anniversary of the school, which is 2021, and that includes really every aspect of Northwest Catholic. So it's looking at the academic program, it's looking at the co-curricular program, spiritual life of the school and the student, formation of faculty and professional development, as well as all of those things that have to do with buildings and grounds and those pieces. So we want all of that to fit together into a whole vision. And I guess the big things that are on the horizon would be some major sort of, let's call it, building and construction for the 60th, which would have to do with things that need some attention around Northwest, right? So our science labs have not been renovated in a long time for STEM education. You talked about a track. There are a lot of things that sort of in the green space outside that we feel need to be addressed to sort of bring us up to where we want to be in the competitive marketplace, but also just to fulfill our mission, right? There's a lot that we do well at Northwest, but our buildings and our surroundings need to support that. The other big thing that we're talking about in strategic planning is access to Northwest Catholic, a growth in our endowment for scholarships, so we never have to turn away a student who wants to come to Northwest Catholic, and academic support. So we find that more and more students are definitely focused on college and college preparation, but they need a little extra support, especially in the freshman and the sophomore year. So we're looking to invest in a full array of support services and academics that help students transition academically so that they can get a faster start as a freshman into that sort of college prep mode that they want to be in by the time they're a senior. So those are a few of the things. Then we're going to be rolling out that plan in the spring to maybe be more specific about some of the details. And we do have a master planning architect who's going to help us kind of draw up that vision for ourselves.
Never too late to build a track.
Never too late to build a track.
What values do you want all the students to know before they graduate?
So I think if I were thinking about a graduate of Northwest Catholic, I would hope that they would have internalized the values of our school, right? Faith, respect, diverse community, servant leadership, and becoming a whole person. And then we also have, as you probably are aware, this graduate profile. You know, what does the graduate at graduation look like? So is a student who's graduating Northwest Catholic becoming more and more intellectually curious? You know, are you challenging yourself academically? Are you focusing on your spiritual life and becoming aware? Whether or not you're Catholic, are you asking the deep questions? Are you a compassionate leader? Are you finding ways to serve in the community and turn all of your gifts into service for the community? And are you also finding a way to become a whole person? Are you looking at your mind, your body, your spirit, your imagination in every year of your life at Northwest Catholic, in whatever way that means for you, right? Not everybody's an artist. Some people's artistry is their athletic skill or their academic ability, but that you're putting all of that together as you get closer and closer to graduation, and that you live those values, that they're not just a word on a paper, but that every day you're asking yourself, how can I be more respectful? How can I be more faithful? How can I be more compassionate in service?
You always talk about that you're busy and that you're in meetings all the time. You always have phone calls to make. What's your favorite day of the year?
Ooh, that's tough. There are a lot of good days at Northwest Catholic, but I think I would have to say, if you force me to pick one, it's probably our half day before Christmas. So, you know, the Christmas party day at Northwest Catholic is pretty special. You know, we all get dressed up in our Christmas gear. We have the Christmas concert. There's a lot of festivities and just a great spirit in the school. And it's nice that we have that kind of big send-off before the holidays. And there are many other great days, but that one is a real blast.
What class would you be excited to take if you were a student as of this moment?
Oh, wow. So one of the great things about not being a student anymore is you can kind of look back and say the things you wish you would have taken or taken more seriously in high school. So I was kind of a humanities guy, more of an English and history student, and I think I would love to take advantage of some of the amazing science and math classes we have. That was not my strength as a student, but when I think about Mr. Fletcher's physics class or Mrs. Metzler's, you know, calc club and calc class, I think that would be interesting. Also, I think if I were to come back to Northwest Catholic as a student today, I would not want to graduate without taking either our Hill or our Acts class as a senior to really get involved in leadership and service. I think those are tremendous opportunities.
So people probably watching this are students, parents, and maybe teachers who want to apply to the school.
Okay.
What qualities do you want in a teacher who is thinking about applying to the school?
So I'm very aware as a leader of the school who's also been a teacher that teachers are the fundamental backbone of Northwest Catholic. I mean, they're the people, teachers, coaches, and mentors get it done every single day, right? And build those relationships. So I would say, first and foremost, aside from academic excellence and a real passion and skill in their subject area, I would want us to have teachers who care about students and care about forming the whole person, that see their work not as a job, but as a vocation to help students, to form them as whole persons, and really understand that fascinating balance between creating a personal relationship and also having that excellence in teaching and academics and calling students to more.
If you were a student here, what sport and what club would you be a part of?
So I am not the athlete in my family. I love to be a cheerleader, but I was like a pretty terrible tennis and golf player in high school. All my children, all my sons are athletes, and I love to watch them play. So I probably would be like, a not very good member of the golf team or the tennis team. And I was very involved in drama and music in high school. So I'd probably be a member of the drama tours. I'd probably sing in the jazz choir. And also I would definitely get involved in our clubs and activities. There's so much to do for everybody of every interest here at Northwest.
So you weren't that athletic?
Not really. I was sincere in my hopes of growing as an athlete, but that gene passed me over.
So out of your 2 years at Northwest, what has been your greatest memory?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So many great experiences here. I guess if I had to choose one at this juncture in the 2 years, it would really be the mission trip to Haiti last year. So I had the privilege and pleasure of traveling with Mrs. Hart, Miss Hart, I should say, and Mr. Bill Hayden, current parent, and taking 9 of our students to Haiti for an immersion trip of service and solidarity and working on our hydroponic greenhouse effort.
What exactly did they do in Haiti?
So we did some direct service work with some Haitian communities down in Pion, which was an area sort of between Port-au-Prince and Cap-Haïtien in the middle of the country. And it was primarily to assist in certainly delivering food, being involved in the mission work of Many Hands for Haiti, which is both an early childhood education program, an adult education program, and then sort of an agronomy program where they're trying to teach Haitian citizens how to farm in a very difficult environment where there's been a ton of soil erosion. So one of the things that we brought was this partnership between Levo International, which is a nonprofit doing hydroponic greenhouse work, and our team. And the idea was creating these greenhouses that could create essentially a 12-month growing season for families so that there was a higher production of vegetables and sustainable gardening for families who frankly are, in a very tough spot in terms of food sustainability, clean water, and living conditions.
So what exactly did you and everyone else get accomplished in Haiti?
So one of the cool things we were able to do was actually break down and rebuild a whole new greenhouse on the mission property. And the idea there was that we would plant seedlings in the greenhouse that would then become seedlings for these mini systems that were about maybe an eighth of the size of the large greenhouse that could be moved and installed into a family's home, in the neighborhood. So the idea being that we could go out, the mission, Many Hands for Haiti, would work on clean drinking water as an initiative, cement floors to cut disease in Haitian homes, and provide the hydroponic greenhouses. So through clean drinking water, safe living conditions, and food sustainability, as well as adult and childhood education, you're really offering a lot of the services that would help a family thrive, and not just survive, but thrive in their community. So that was really nice to be able to leave something very tangible behind. I mean, it's good to go and serve. It's awesome to be in a relationship with others, but to know that we actually left something behind that could sustain and grow was very powerful. And I think the students would say the same.
How often do you guys go to Haiti?
We're hoping to make it an annual trip. We're looking to go again in June of this year and take a small group. The other thing that we're actually contemplating is if we might do an alum trip. So do an alum service corps trip to Haiti or some other locale, sort of in that spirit of Axe and Hill that's been at Northwest Catholic for many years. So we hope to grow and build on that.
And just my final question to you.
Sure.
Who's your favorite faculty member?
Oh, geez, I could never choose just one.
If you had,
it's like choosing your favorite child.
It's me, but
I would say that I could never choose a favorite, but I would say what I love about all of our faculty is that they have such a passion for teaching and for Northwest Catholic and their love of each other. So students don't often get to see this, but when the faculty gather as a group for a meal or a day of reflection or a day of professional development, they are just so good to each other. And just like kids, they sit in groups, right? So they sit in their departmental groups, right? But they, you can just see that their power of community and their care for each other certainly translates to our students, and I love to see that.
Mr. Cashman, thank you again.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate you taking this time with me. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thanks.